Good morning. Welcome to another PI Pop In with attorney Joy Farrell and Kimberly Hall. This today we're going to be talking about understanding your settlements in a personal injury case. When we have personal injury cases, if they go to a trial, that's a verdict from the jury. And then if it settles, which most of them do, I would say majority settle, you don't go to trial, but you still get your money. So today we're going to be talking about that. But before we get into that, let me do an introduction for the if this is your first time tuning in with us. My name is Attorney Joy Farrell. I am the managing partner here at Fairell Roy and Associates. Our law firm does family law and personal injury. If you follow the page, you probably know that I do family law videos pretty frequently each week. This is our opportunity to discuss the personal injury cases. Attorney Hall, let her introduce herself, but she heads up the personal injury department and really runs that department beautifully. We have a lot of happy clients on that side, so I'll let her introduce herself.
I'm gonna need a title for the personal injury side. What's gonna be my title? I'm
Um,
gonna be
Queen,
huh?
Queen, personal injury Queen,
Queen of personal injury.
personal injury.
You give yourself the long title, like I'm managing partner. I need a name over on the personal injury side. You guys, this your first time watching this. This is what we do. So
Okay,
I'm gonna
drop a
need
comment. Drop a comment and say what her title should be. Like she is managing attorney, personal injury leader, waymaker, miracle
lead attorney over at
miracle
personal
worker.
injury. Yeah. I'll take
Uh,
all of that.
yeah, she
How you guys, good
where the
morning
money
or
reside.
look afternoon or evening, whatever time you are watching us. I am attorney Kimberly Hall. I am over the personal injury department here at Fairell Roy and Associates. So if it's your first time watching us, welcome. If you watch us all the time, hey, you guys, thank you for following us and referring us out to people and coming back to us. We really do appreciate it. I'm trying to think. I'm losing count. I guess that's a good thing. That means you've been practicing a long time when you start to lose count. I think this is my 14th year doing personal injury and 11 now as a lawyer, right? It's 2021, huh?
Hmm.
Yeah, so my 11th year as a lawyer doing
I
personal
think we should
injury.
say over a decade.
Over a decade. Yeah, it has been, right? Who when you get started, like you would be saying that, right?
Right.
And so I truly believe that taking care of the clients are important. Joy just shared, someone reached out to us the other day and really just said how she was so worried about she had this accident and it really changed her life. It gave her the opportunity to get back on her feet. And those are the stories that really make what we do so important. It is about a check, right? Somebody injured you and you get a settlement from that. But people a lot of times come to us and they're such on hard times. And being able to get them a settlement, really puts them in a position for them to do better. And I think that was just so important that that client reached out to us. One, to continue to encourage us. Two, it really is a segue to what we're talking about today, right? Which is settlements, because everybody wants to know about the money. And so that's what we are going to talk about and attach. Thinking about words. Talk about an attack today.
I did share that testimonial from our client with Attorney Hall recently, and I really, really appreciated her taking the time to tell us that because we're in a thankless job. Just honestly, we don't hear thank you a lot. But when she said that, she just said how she prayed and she was led to come to us. And so many people do end up telling us that. And I really believe that because we are a Christian based law firm. We do not deny Jesus in our office. We give God all the glory for everything that we do. And when we work to serve clients, whether it's family law or personal injury, we keep Jesus at the center of what we're trying to do. We allow ourselves to be a vessel in seeking the justice that we believe that you deserve. And so for her to turn around and say that the reason she got to us was God driven and the results for her were life changing, I give God the glory for that. And I appreciate her and just what God has continued to do for our firm and continue to do to allow us to get out there and let other people know about us. And we are a
Amen.
knowledge based firm. Our first standard of priority at our firm, as far as our what we believe in, is service, and then the next prong is knowledge. And we
Mhm.
believe that knowledge is power. And so you see me all the time just giving y'all this free information. Like, I want you to know. And that's exactly what we're doing today, especially in personal injury. And that's why we're going to talk about these settlements, because there's so much manipulation going on the radio, on the billboards, on the TV commercials, that you can be easily tricked and pulled in to these other places. And we're going to make sure that if you ever get in an accident, or if you're in the middle of an accident, you're going to know what's going on. You're going to be fully informed. You're not going to be that person like, oh, I haven't talked to my lawyer in like 8 months. I haven't heard from him. I don't know what's happening. Or I had a lawyer. They said this, but all I got was this, and I don't know where my money is. We don't
Yeah.
stand for that. So we're going to empower you today with some knowledge about something that people are always interested in, and that is their money. So let's talk about, first of all, Attorney Hall, go ahead and tell them what a settlement is.
So the settlement is the money that you receive from the insurance company as a result of your auto accident, your slip and fall, your also your premises liability. You just got hurt. We just recently closed up a case for a lady that got injured getting her nails done. So any case like that. So the money that you receive from the case is what we call the actual settlement. Now, the settlement is two parts because the settlement is the full amount of what the case settles for. So that's 25,000, 50,000, 100,000, whatever the full settlement amount is.
And just to be clear, Attorney Hall, there are limits to what your settlement can be based on the
Absolutely.
policy that the other
Absolutely.
driver has, right? So you
Absolutely.
can't get $1 million if the policy is only 25.
Yeah, and I think that that's a really big misconception within the personal injury field. And I think now you're starting to hear like little tidbits like these results are not typical. Like when you
Right.
hear, I won't call any attorneys out, but you know, my attorney got me $3.7 million, and they're just like all jovial.
Yeah.
I assure you, you get $3.7 million, your voice don't sound like that. It's been years to recover $3.7 million. But let's be
We actually
clear
always
that
say on these too, like, man, like if you're having to get a multi-million-dollar settlement, we feel for you, because that means something really
yeah,
big
it's
should
not
happen
it's
to you.
not a good yeah. You know, and honestly, you guys, like these cases that you hear with these multi-million-dollar settlements, I mean, these people a lot of times have died. That's number one. So it's really their families getting the money.
Yeah.
Two, they will never work again. You
Yeah.
know, they will never have a normal life. They
Mm.
potentially are paraplegic. Sometimes they're vegetables. Like, I mean, there are so many. I mean, I could tell you guys seriously the cases that I have seen with multi-million dollars. You know, I've went to law school, you know, with another a really famous attorney. He does multi-million dollar civil suits, and a lot of the people that he represent, they're deceased. You know, I mean, it's not, you know, these million-dollar cases, they're not easy to come by, but you are not the person that wants to be on the other end of these multi-million-dollar suits. So you have to be really careful when you're coming to your attorney and it's like, hey, how much am I gonna get? How much am I gonna get? Because the reality is one, we're dealing with limits, just like Attorney Fairell said, period, point blank. A lot of times these cases that you hear with such these large settlements is because the insurance company has refused to settle for them within the limits, and now they're going to court and getting verdicts. So those limits no longer apply to them because we have what we call bad faith and some other legal things that can protect you and then get you a larger verdict. But again, those cases are very serious. They're very, very serious cases. So for most of the cases that attorneys handle, we are dealing with your auto accidents and somebody hits you and they carry a $25,000 policy limit. And so if your injuries account for that and you can get the policy limits, then your case will only settle for the $25,000. Now we have other avenues and other places we can pull from insurance, and you have to watch our other videos for that. But in terms of the settlement, you get 25,000. That is the settlement. That's what you can get. Now, if you have a case that's not necessarily policy limits, your case may settle for $10,000 or $15,000. That $10,000 or $15,000, that is the settlement. Okay, that's not what you are taking home, and that's why it's two parts. There is a settlement for your case, and there's the part that you are going to take home. Now, Attorney Hall, why is that different? Because your attorney has to be paid, the fees and expenses for your case have to be paid, and your medical providers have to be paid back. Okay, so that's why you're going to
All
have
out
different,
of that,
all out of your
whether
10 or
the number is 10,
$15,000.
15. Is your internet connection okay?
Yep, I lost you for a second though.
Okay, you were blurring out for a little bit. But yeah, so I was just saying, like, regardless of if your settlement's 10,000 or 300,000, everybody has to be paid off of that money.
Absolutely. But what we do, and I encourage my client, I know it happens all the time. I've been doing this for years. They get so worried because it's like, hey, my case settled for 10,000, but I have $4,000 in medicals, and I gotta pay you and pay them back. That's all my money. And I tell them all the time, trust me, you are going to get your money. So I recently actually just had a client. We settled her case for the policy limit, which was 25. She had 18 in bills.
Woo! Tell them what we did.
Attorney fees are 33.33%. So that means after we get paid, and I think I actually gave her a reduction. So after she got paid, after we got paid, I believe her take home would have been like 16,000. Now I just told you that she had 18,000 in bills.
Right.
And she took home, I think 11.2, I believe was her payout. So that means all them bills she had, we got them reduced all the way down. And so that is the upside to working with us. A lot of firms charge extra to get your medical bills reduced. We do not charge extra to work down your medical bills for you. That is a part for us is service, right? And the doctors understand the treatment that they have provided to you, but they also understand how the insurance company looks at the treatment as well. They understand about policy limits as well. So it's not that the doctors don't feel like they should be paid their full amount, but they do understand that you, as the client, you are the person that's hurt. And what's most important to us is your absolute recovery. We want you to, one, be healed as much as you can, back to your normal routine as much as you can. And two, we definitely want you to pocket as much as you can from your actual settlement. So the next thing that we want to talk about is, why do I have to pay my medical bills from a settlement? Great segue. And that is because that's how your doctors get paid. Some people are able to use their health insurance. So this isn't a conversation about health insurance people. This is a conversation about my clients who go to their medical doctors on what we call liens. That lien is to say, hey, when my case settles, Dr. So-and-so, you'll get paid. So we sign a lien and you guys sign a lien too as the client. So that is why we have to pay them off of your settlement. Now, a lot of people have come to me.
Not to interrupt, but just so you guys understand what a lien is, it means they're going to give you all your medical treatment that you need to get you recovered without you having to pay anything. They're basically working for free for however long it takes until your case settles. And, most of us won't go to work and work for free. And
Right.
sometimes it takes months for the cases to settle. So we're asking these doctors to take a chance on you and to take a chance on us. Go ahead and treat them. We'll pay you when we get the money. And so we're always going to pay our doctors because that's our relationships that we have with them. And then the lien is the legal requirement that puts like almost like a garnishment, just for comparison, on your money. Like they're going to get their money by law first after
And
us.
we want to make sure we want to make sure they get paid, right? They have given you excellent treatment. So we want to make sure that they're paid for the services that they give you. And just like Attorney Fairell said, like these doctors work on you sometimes 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, without any money out of pocket from you. And so we want to make sure that they are compensated for.
Okay. Lost you for a second. You back?
Yep,
Okay. So yeah, the last thing we heard you say was we just wanted to make sure that they're compensated.
absolutely.
Okay. So
The other,
with that
what
in
were
mind,
you going to say, Attorney Farrell?
I was gonna say, because sometimes people are in treatment, sometimes 6 weeks, sometimes 12 weeks, sometimes 8 months. Another issue we have, well, a question we get on the front end all the time is how long is this gonna take? And then, so can you talk about how long a personal injury case takes and why it varies from person to person, and why people shouldn't rely on what they're hearing on TV or from their friend who had an accident? Talk about that.
Yes. So I tell clients to be prepared that I would just say on average, it at least takes a case 6 months to settle. And the reason that is purely just treatment, right? You have to go see a doctor. They have to put a treatment plan in place. You have to go through those treatments. You need a final evaluation, and then you get released. And a lot of time that takes quite a few months to get done. We have to get the medical records. They go to the insurance company. We have to negotiate. All of those things take place. And then from there, that is when the case actually settles. So for that reason, we cannot, that's why we can't really give you an actual timeline as to how long it's going to take. Um, of course, if you have more extensive treatment, then it's going to take you a little bit longer. So for my
Right.
clients that have injections, my clients who may potentially be surgical, my clients who need a lot of physical therapy, those clients, they tend to take longer. My clients who are surgical, I need a couple of weeks of therapy before I even start talking to the insurance company because, hey, we don't want to enter into settling your case prematurely, right? What if the doctor told you it was going to be 6 weeks of physical therapy, you get an infection now it's 6 months? And now we have moved forward with settling your case. You don't want that, right? You want to have the full value of your case accounted for. Now you do get cases, and I get them, sometimes that, hey, the client got into an accident, they have 4 weeks of physical therapy, 4 weeks of a chiro. It's not gonna take me 6 months to get that case resolved. They don't need an ortho visit, they don't need a neuro visit, no injections, no surgery. They had 8 visits, they're done. 10
And,
visits, they're done. So it's
just
gonna,
showing
we're
up,
finished.
and
Yeah,
they're
and people
showing
be
up
like,
for
what
their
you talking
appointments.
about? 3 months.
Showing up for their appointments. And so as the client, you too facilitate. So if you're missing all of your doctor's appointments, your 12 scheduled treatments could be done in 4 weeks or 6 weeks, but because you missing appointments and counseling, your 12 weeks just turned into 20 weeks.
Right.
And now you're not well because you're not getting the treatment that you need. So there's a lot of factors that come into play. And while we're talking about this, because I want to bring this up, Kim, about the settlements, people having to wait for their money. And so there's some firms right now advertising like, you hire us today, we'll give you a check tomorrow.
Yep.
Please, let's discuss the consequences of that and tell them what is happening when you're getting a loan from your lawyer or from a financing company.
So let me be clear that first of all, it is 100% illegal for the attorney to be giving you any money. Like that attorney is not writing you a check from their personal bank account and giving it to you. So what they are doing is they're taking what we call an advancement or a loan against your case. You know, it could be $500, $1,000, $1,500, however much, but they're taking it against your case. And so what is happening is they're saying, hey, so and so, give us this $1,000 for this client. When their case settles, we'll pay you back with interest, right? So now the $1,000, and depending on which loan companies they're using, I don't know who they're going through, but you know, a lot of them, their interest rates are super high. So you could borrow 1,000 and end up paying 2,200 back because they charge you the fees to wire the money to you, to mail it, like they have these other charges, plus the interest. And the longer it takes your case to settle, the more the interest rate goes up on the money that you borrowed. And so I am a stickler. I know some clients, they hate me on the front end for it, but on the back end of their case, they love me because what ends up happening is that $1,000 that they wanted to take out, that $2,000 they wanted to take out, it comes off the back end of their settlement. That's money that you've already gotten up front, essentially, right? So now, when you could have had $15,000 in your pocket, now you're going to have $10,000 in your pocket because you don't took a $2,000 or $3,000 advancement against your loan. Now you're paying back $2,000 worth of interest. So you technically are losing money because you are paying interest, and that is the part that I need you guys to be educated about and understand. And I am a person, don't gimmick me, like don't trick me, like tell me the truth, like tell me what I'm getting into. And Joy and I talk about this all the time. It irks me. I very rarely listen to the radio. I gotta catch a few people, my Ryan Cameron, you know, all that. But um you know, those things, like I can't take the commercials because they're so gimmicky, right? They are just trying to get you in the door and they're not educating you. And you're just like, hey, I got into this wreck and I'm about to get paid. And so that $500 or $1,000 you're getting on the front end is now $2,000 and $3,000 on the back end. Some of the firms too also charge 40% off top. We do not charge 40% off top.
Mm-hmm.
We charge 33.33%, which the state of Georgia allows as the minimum, right? Again, that's a lot of your money, 40%. And it's warranted on some cases, right? You know, we got to go into litigation and all of that. That stuff's written into our contract. But 40% because you walk into my door and I see so many people. And of course, at that point, it's so late in the game for them. And they have given the attorney an extra $3,000 or $2,000 just from the attorney's fees themselves. So please make sure that you have the knowledge in asking the questions walking in the door, but you're coming to us. So you already have been educated and informed and understand what you're walking into and what you're getting into, you know, when you walk into a relationship with an attorney regarding your settlement. I feel like we had one more. Was there another point?
Yeah, I just put it up. Well, there's two more, which is explaining the medical bills included in the settlement amount. Because so many clients think that I get 25,000 or 50,000, and then a separate check to cover my 11,000 in medical bills. So
Correct. So
we don't
here in
do
the
that here in Georgia.
Georgia, that's not the rule. Now you do have some states they do that. You know, Grady, I don't know the hospital's name, so I'm just going to use Grady. But Grady in Missouri would send over the bill to your insurance company, and that insurance company would pay it. We do not have that in the state of Georgia. Do not be tricked. Emergency rooms love to tell clients that that is 100% not true. That is not law. It's not legal. It don't happen in the state of Georgia. So in order for your medical bills to be paid, they actually come out of your settlement. And what goes into your settlement is medical bills. So when we're negotiating with the insurance company about the settlement of your case, that's what we're negotiating about. We're negotiating on the medical bills. That's the conversation. We're negotiating about the medical records. So it's not a matter of the insurance company say, okay, he got 15 in medicals, I'm going to pay that. And then I'm going to give you 25. Because remember, we just talked about policy limits. It's only so much the particular policy can pay out anyway. So if I'm giving you 25 and then I'm paying 10 or 15 in medicals, where's the money coming from? It doesn't exist. So understand that that's why it's all included. But again, we do work miracles at Fairell and Associates. So we'll get those medical bills reduced for you so you don't have to worry about it.
She a waymaker. Okay, so how does the disbursement work? Once we have settled the case, we've signed the waivers and gotten the check. How does the disbursement work? And how do we here at Farrell Roy make sure the clients are on the same page before y'all even come get this check? You gonna know exactly
Yes.
what's happening.
And I tell clients all the time, they get mad at me, and I know they be mad. They be happy at the end. I'd be like, let me get your settlement. Let me get your disbursement sheet worked up first. The disbursement sheet is the breakdown. You see everything, right? You see how your full settlement amount, right? You see the breakdown for the attorney's fees. If you had to pay $3 for copying, like you see that as well. Then you see your medical bill portion. And this is my favorite part of the actual settlement statement because again, it could say, hey, you owe the medical provider 25,000, but they're going to take 9. And I'm not exaggerating, right? These are really numbers that we work down. My paralegals will tell you, and I stay on top of them. That number don't look good enough for me. Let's go back. Let's try to get more off, right? So that is on. So it'll tell you, hey, Dr. XYZ's bill was, $9,924, reduced down to 2,500, right? So it'll tell you that on the statement. So you'll see how much you had in medical bills versus now what you are paying. Then you'll also see the full amount of the check that you're going to get. You also see if you had any med pay payments, which we talked about on another one of our PI pop-ins. So you'll get a better explanation on those. But if you had med pay payments, that's also in your disbursement sheet, and you can see that. So you actually see the money coming in and everywhere it went, every provider and who gets paid out. And we don't sugarcoat anything here. We tell you everything. So you know how much they got paid out. I'll tell you when it's paid. We provide tracking numbers to those particular medical providers. And I tell clients, when you walk out of my office, this is your money. 9 times out of 10, you're not getting any phone calls anymore about anybody else. Everybody has been paid from your settlement statement, unless you just opted not to, pay an X-ray bill or something like that. But absent that, which is why I say 9 out of 10, not 10 out of 10, that you're not getting any phone calls for anything that has not been paid by our firm.
Right.
So all of that is in your disbursement.
Right. So hopefully, guys, with all that information, you can leave this video with a better understanding of how settlements work. If you still have questions, just drop them in the comments and maybe we'll do a video about that in particular, or we'll just try to respond to your comment. If you have been in an accident, or if you're ever in an auto accident, if you're ever in a slip and fall case, if you ever have a family law case, divorce, child support, custody, make sure that we are the very first call that you make. You can call us at 678-973-2803, or you can go to farrellroy.com and find us through that avenue. Thank you for tuning in. As always, we appreciate you guys so much. Have a blessed week.